takes a minute or two. Well, good morning, everybody. This is Gulf Harbour Radio, ZMH 286, Patricia and David, on a really stormy morning here. We've just had a burst of hail. Is it raining now? No, it's just drizzly sort of, but now 100% cloud cover. 14 degrees, although that might have gone down with the hail. 1006.7, slightly rising. It was, well, this was before. 3 knots from the southwest. It's certainly more than 3 knots now. I'd say it's closer to about 15 knots from the southwest. We've got petals and leaves all over the deck here. We had the most stunning and exciting lightning and thunderstorm yesterday afternoon. It was a beaut. Made me had to come and disconnect everything because there wasn't too much of a time delay between the lightning and the thunder. It was absolutely magnificent. We get really, really good thunderstorms up here. It's a lot more tropical than where I grew up in Wellington, where a thunder and lightning storm was something that everybody just stopped and watched because it was so unique. But here, it's a little bit more frequent, and certainly the sky was very, very tropical looking. And you certainly wouldn't be wanting to come into New Zealand today, and we hope that there is no one coming in today. It's just not very pleasant. And I see from the satellite picture that the trough is still around Fiji and Tonga. That's a bit of a pain, but northern Vanuatu, but it's not too bad down where you folk will be checking out in Port Vila. So, yeah, it's very interesting weather. Look forward to when David pipes up in 15 minutes. But there is a lot of people checking out. I don't think there will be many listening to us this morning because there will be a rush at dinner hour. Pilgrim reported that there's a cruise ship in Port Vila today, so very unlikely that there'll be much action with the smaller boats. But anyway, hopefully people that wanted to check out from Port Vila will do what they did and check out yesterday. So in Port Vila it's cloudy, 1012, dinner hour, thank you, Amazing Grace, trophy, rain, east to east southeast 51010. So hopefully everyone gets handled fairly quickly for the checkout there. Haven't heard of anybody in Tonga, I don't think. And also Andiamo, I know you're leaving from Savi, but I presume most of the Tongan folk are just holding at Minerva. So there you are. A message for Shimata if you're listening. You're having trouble with your position report. Don't put the dash in. You're putting your latitude and longitude and then a dash, which makes the system think that it's the other on the other side of the date line. So just do a space. I think Kostya actually replied to you on that one, but the old brain must be a bit tired. So just be very careful on both Yip and following C when you're putting your positions in, folks. If you don't get that latitude and longitude in the correct format, it won't recognize you, and things will go downhill from there. Okay, and talking about customs, well, sort of customs, the sort of the formal things of way of doing things. Query came in yesterday. As you know, in the weekend in Australia, there are significant customs fees, the same in Fiji, I believe, but in New Zealand, absolutely not. There are no, doesn't matter when you come in, they may or may not be there, and on Friday they departed the scene at 4 o'clock. But all you do, if you are coming into Opua, there is a sort of a big dock which is not connected to the marina. It is the customs pontoon, if you like. It's floating, and you just come in, tie up in on the inside of that if you can. Some of you will arrive when it's absolutely full, so you'll have to go on the other side. There is a little bit more protection from the elements on the inside, but it doesn't matter. You can go on one side or the other depending on what the conditions are when you come in. Now, I wanted to talk about conditions because, you know, we always sort of plonk ourselves into wind, but the big thing in Opua is the current. The current can be quite vicious. We know about that because there's still a little hole in one of the concrete pontoons that our wonderful rock anchor gouged when we turned to go into wind, but forgot that the current was ripping out, and we managed to not stop in time. So be very careful. Sometimes if it's a light wind and the current's rolling, you want to go into the current rather than the other way around. But anyway, hopefully when you arrive, there'll be someone there to take your lines. Sad for the first person to come in. They have to do it all by themselves. But that's the situation there. You don't pay any fees whatsoever for customs out of hours. The customs and agriculture people will appear in the morning and do their thing. It's all quite efficient. It doesn't take too much time once they arrive. But I think there is a fee, the normal fee that you would pay if you were flying into the country, but that you get to pay at some stage in the next week or so. So have no fear, but have your papers ready so that you don't hold everybody up. The papers, hopefully, you've been given before you left because they're available at all the main centres. Have your foodstuffs ready. They come in with a big garbage bag. Put the fruit and vegetables that you know that they will confiscate. Fruit and vegetables go into the black bag, but just have them out in the galley. They will probably ask, depending on who you get and what they think, to open up the fridge and the freezer to just have a quick look. They might talk about what you've got in there, but things seem to be pretty straightforward these days. In the old days, they used to confiscate cheese, but nowadays they don't seem to do that. But anyway, if you've got unidentified meat, that might go. But by and large, things are pretty straightforward. So just have everything ready, and then you'll know that things will be quite speedy and you can get on your way. All right. Whangarei, it's raining. Good morning to Lupan crew. Rainy, cloudy, 95% cloud actually, 12 degrees up there. I thought our 14 was bad enough. 1009.2. And Mr. Troy, good morning to you, Diego and Marina in Noumea. They're leaving this afternoon for Brisbane. So it's 10 knots from the south-southeast there at the moment, 1015, 21 degrees and partly cloudy. Quite a pleasant day to actually leave New Caledonia. Nananu Ipake, no, it's not, Nananu Ira. Good morning to the Citrus Tart crew, 90% cloud up there, and they're going to be there for a couple more weeks kiting. Boy, this kiting is a really popular sport. We really quite enjoyed watching a video that Whistler sent in. Boy, they're amazingly good, and it looks quite exciting. So a good sport to keep you fit by the look of it. Okay, they're really late people. They're going to be home by Christmas. I can remember when we've had a couple of Christmas do's ourselves. We decided that we were going to be in Wellington, where my mother was, for Christmas one year. Well, we got as far as Napier, and then we left Napier, and boy, did we have a rock and rolling trip to Wellington, and we got in about 9 o'clock on Christmas Eve. We made it. And the same thing when we were going to Margero, we got in on Christmas Eve in similarly rock and rolly conditions. So yeah, we stretch things out to the limit as well. Okay, let's just have a little bit of news here. For the Brits, British steel is evidently in some financial woes, like most of the Western world steel people. But hard to compete against the Chinese. Anyway, they have agreed to a £70 million rescue from a Chinese firm. The good news is that it will safeguard about 4,000 jobs, but of course long term it means the Chinese have taken over yet another critical industry. Going on to, they're having a big powwow over there in Britain, I think, at the moment. There is a proposal to cut the speed of ships by 20%. All of these global people have decided that it would have huge benefits for the world. It would cut the underwater noise by 66%. I'm not sure how they worked that out. It seemed an awful lot for a 20% reduction in speed. But anyway, a 66% reduction in noise, which would reduce the chances of collision with whales by 78%. I would have thought that the more noise you made, the less chance of hitting them. But anyway, that's my logic. And also, it would reduce greenhouse gas pollutants. They don't exactly say by how much, which is unusual. They usually come up with some figure that is impossible to work out how they got it. But anyway, shipping is responsible for 3% of the global warming. It's about the same as the whole of Germany. So this is an awful lot to bother with only 3%. And of course, the big argument is which ships will have their speed cut. The proposal is that the cruise ships will be able to keep going at the same speed, but all of the freight and cargo would be dropped, which of course would increase costs throughout the world. But anyway, that's what they're talking about at the moment.
So how much do you think they're going to really reduce? I mean, folks, just for the record, the past 30 years, the satellite records for temperature has increased by 0.6 degrees centigrade. 0.6 degrees centigrade. Those are the facts. You'll never hear the facts.
Okay. You just calm yourself here.
I'm starting to get palpitations.
Yes, he's got palpitations, so we better take the microphone back here. Okay, just a roundup of what's happening in the world. The protests are ongoing in Hong Kong. Actually, not. They're getting rather violent. And yesterday, an amazing picture of a policeman shooting a protester who was unarmed but coming towards him in the stomach. There have been 3 people shot and killed, but it is getting quite serious in Hong Kong, and certainly not a place that you want to be passing through if you are going anywhere. Tell you what, you wouldn't be wanting to come back to New Zealand and head over to the United States at the moment. They are about to have a record-breaking Arctic blast this week, talking about global warming, and temperatures in some parts of the country are expected to plummet by about 30 degrees Fahrenheit below average, starting off in the Great Plains and sort of moving eastwards. So things are going to be rather nippy over there. The elections in Spain haven't got, this is the second one they've had this year, and this was the 4th in 4 years. Needless to say, the turnout was only 56.8%. People are getting sick of elections, and the ruling party, the Socialists, they did not get the majority that they wanted. There's just too many parties over there. That's the trouble with this new system. And another party has announced itself here in New Zealand, actually, another sort of right-wing green type party. But anyway, back to Spain. The only ones that changed were the far-right VOX party. They made some gains, but the left and the right blocs just cannot get an absolute majority. They have a huge number of people in their parliament, 350. So probably the only way around this would be to reduce the numbers and get some seats out of it all. Billionaire, former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg has signaled that he will join the race for the Democrats. He's 77. I tell you what, we've got these ancient old men.
I'm going to go for it.
Oh, you're going to go for it. Well, you're quite young. It's 75 almost. So, but he's certainly got the money to do it. He's a 52 billion billionaire. So he's going to certainly be able to fund his own campaign. But boy, wouldn't it be nice if we had some young, vibrant blood over there. A British team has a new land speed record. There is a vehicle called the Bloodhound. It has just gone 501 miles per hour, which is 806 kilometres per hour. Boy, scary stuff. It's a straight line course. It was actually in South Africa. It's powered by a Eurofighter Typhoon engine, and in fact it's driven by an Air Force wing commander. The course is about 10 miles long, and being able to stop after doing that speed is quite critical. The first attempts, they have 2 chutes that come out, and the first time the one chute just wobbled the car around so much it was quite a challenge to try and stabilise it. But they did some adjustments to holes in the chute and so on. Anyway, if anybody is interested in high speed, that's worthwhile having a look at. Okay, finally, I've got a minute here. Bolivian President Evo Morales has announced his resignation. He was the first indigenous leader that they had in Bolivia, and he's been in power for 14 years. But this last election, there was a lot of controversy about how valid it was, and there's been a lot of civil unrest. And the final straw was that the military withdrew their support. So without the military, you can't do much in those South American countries. So that will be another one down over there in South America. Okay, that's about it for news from the world. There's not an awful lot going on. What do you mean?
Quite a bit.
Oh, well, quite a bit. Okay. Hi, Candy. The Cetacean have checked in from Port Dinera and Port Vila, respectively. And the HF has got a lot of fading on it. We call that QSB for those who are ham radio operators. I'm on net control today for the ham net, so anybody who is out at sea and wants to check in, it's actually quite good because we have people on both sides of the Tasman, up and down the east coast of Australia. Boy, those fires are going to be pretty horrific today. Sydney is getting really, really worried. And we have people up and down the country here, so it's a good place to check in. Okay, that's about it. Good morning to Eagles Wings as well. They've got those very light winds in Port Vila and a bit of cloud around. So let's see what's happening in the rest of the country. And if you are away and listening to this later after you've checked out, then safe sailing to you all. Here's David.
Well, thank you, Patricia. Good morning, everybody. And oh boy, there are quite a few yachts on the way from New Zealand today, from what we gather. As Patricia had mentioned, Fiji, Vanuatu, Newcastle yachts. You'll be looking at southeast winds as you take off. Once clear of the landmass, 15 knot range, 15 to 20, that should be in store for you. Tonga is a bit different, northerly quadrant winds, feeding that trough that's running through the country. But later today, we'll see a shift to the southerlies. They're feeding the trough on the bottom part of it. Off to the east of New Zealand is our old high. It's somewhat slow moving, and it is gaining central pressure. I'd say it's around 1027 millibar, 1027. Now, between 170 west and 170 east, this is an area of cyclonic winds, multiple lows, fronts, troughs, you name it. This is between those two areas of longitude, and that, of course, includes all of New Zealand. And boy, did we get the hail a few minutes ago. East of Hervey Bay in Queensland is the next high. It's sitting out there, quite weak at the moment, 1022, 1022 millibar. Now, the high is going to be the main player for the next few days for those of you that are leaving. Now, by Wednesday, it's going to have drifted east, putting itself between New Zealand and the islands. And by Thursday, it weakens just a wee bit and simply forms a ridge rather than very nice circular isobars. You're going to see very elongated isobars, and we call that a ridge. Pretty much east-west in the orientation, the axis about 25 south, give or take on that. Cyclonic flow does remain over New Zealand. The eastern high, 1027 now, is south of French Polynesia at that time. The intensity is actually slowing down the east-west progression of the various players to the west. So that's what happens when you get a very strong high that's east of New Zealand. It slows everything down. And speaking of New Zealand, a trough over us, over northern New Zealand as we speak, it's going to move off, and that'll be followed by a very narrow ridge. Then we've got another front that's going to move over us on late Wednesday into Thursday. So the winds up near the Opua area, we're looking at southwest around 20 today. That's the mean wind, easing a little bit later. Wednesday, northwest about 15, and then Thursday it picks up again, anywhere from 20 to 30 knots, along with some rain, of course. Now, Wednesday is the arrival date for the boats that are just sort of hovering out there, about ready to make their dash into the Bay of Islands. So that has been pretty much the day that we figured for the last week, really. So that's Wednesday. If you could make it tomorrow, you'll be in between these short little systems. That front that's coming in on Thursday, that will arrive, my guess is about 6 a.m. 6 a.m. on Thursday. Now, the most recent model runs, for those underway to New Zealand, they show that you'll be within the circulation of this broad high as you're moving south. That'll be right through the 18th, which is Monday. Now, arrival in New Zealand, a little bit complicated. As you know, we've been calling off the 19th, 18th, 19th. As to the west of the North Island, I can look at anticyclonic flow from a very small high that's actually bumping into the main high of circulation, the main high being north of New Zealand. So that is a bit unfortunate because that is creating a bit of a trough between the two opposing wind flows. The main flow will be northwest, which is a good direction as you're coming in, but it's going to create a bit of troughing there. It's annoying. So this, what I call annoying weather, will clear late on Tuesday, which is the 19th, into early Wednesday, which is the 20th. Arrival on the 21st is fine. Now, the next light band looks to be about the 22nd, and that's a Friday. And you'll have north-northwest winds per GFS, but southwest according to EC. Now, the issue here is the movement of the New Zealand depression. And this depression is, the center of it is going to be to the south. So all we're getting of this depression, if we get anything at all, is just the top half of it. Just picture an egg standing up, and we're just getting the top of the egg, the narrow part of it. That's the bit of depression that we're going to get up in the Opua area. Now, EC just happens to move it a little bit quicker than GFS, so that's why the dates seem to be a bit off on this. So that's really a little too far out to find out which one is going to be correct. We'll just have to wait and see on that. Now, long range, looking at long range modeling, shows a high over New Zealand on Sunday, the 24th. It looks like nice light air on that date. And then light to moderate air right through the 27th of November. That's a Wednesday. And Patricia, that's Thanksgiving, 27th?
Yeah, 28th.
Oh, that's 28th. Okay. Well, those of you that celebrate Thanksgiving, that's about that time anyhow. All right. So leaving this week is probably about as good as it's going to get for the month of November. It's actually the end of November, so you don't have much choice to get November weather. Light to moderate air for the most part on this trip. Arrival weather is either going to be good or, put it in parentheses, could be better, but not regrettable. I don't really see anything nasty there. We'll be able to pin down the arrivals by the end of the week. So when I do the roundup on Friday, for those of you that are chugging away to the south, you'll be able to pick us up on the radio, and I'll be able to give you an update for your arrival. At least these time frames, the 18th, 19th, 20th, right in there. You'll have light air halfway on this trip. It could be a motor sail at that point. And then light to moderate right through Monday, the 18th. Then from then to New Zealand, 28 south to New Zealand, hopefully you'll have northwest winds. Now, two models looking at the 18th and the 19th showing winds northwest in about the 20 knot range. So hopefully that's going to be the case. That'll be a very nice wind direction and a nice speed to get into the Bay of Islands. Like I say, EC is the outlier here. It seems to not agree with anybody else, but we'll check that out. So the faster yachts from say Newcal will be in right around the 18th or the 19th. Those of you that know a bunch have to wait another day because of customs. So you're going to be in maybe a few days. I don't have the date in front of me there, but maybe 2021 like that. You should see light northwest winds nearing Cape Brett. So time will tell on that. So it's not a tragedy, customs keeping you back a day. Frankly, that may work out to be okay for you. Okay, we'll now just briefly go to the tropics and the islands. The main player up in the tropics has been and is the Solomon's Trough. That's extending itself over the Santa Cruz Islands. It's the edge of it is hitting the northern part of Vanuatu, goes on to Fiji, goes on to Tonga, and then it continues to the southeast. There's a cold front over the cruising routes that starts east of New Zealand. It then goes over Raoul and the Kermadec, and looks like it ends around 25 south and 175 east. Now there is another trough up there, runs from Vanua-Levu to Wallis, goes on to Tokelau, and goes on to the northern Cooks from there. So looking at Tonga, enjoying the trough weather, I hope. Take note of a heavy rain warning that they've issued up there and a flash flood advisory. That's for the entire group. So clearly expect mostly cloudy conditions, a lot of rain, isolated thunderstorms. Doesn't look real spectacular up there. The winds north to northeast in the 15 knot range as a mean. You'll have higher gusts. Around Tongatapu, might be southerly quadrant winds clashing with the northerlies, although the southerlies may be a little bit further south of Tongatapu, but one way or the other they'll get up there. So trough conditions tomorrow as well, with the same sort of directional convergence over the group. Fiji and its trough again, slow moving, so expect the usual clouds, occasional thunderstorms, showers, of course. The trough is trying to lift, trying to go north. So Wednesday might be a little bit better for the southern half of Fiji, but still trophy conditions in the north. The winds are directionally converging southeast in the southern portion, northerly quadrant, further to the north. So expect 20 knots south of Kadavu if you're leaving today. Wednesday, southeast also in the 20 knot range for south of Kadavu and virtually in the southern areas of the group. So that's southeast 20 knot range. Your departure seas, it'll be a little bit bouncy, I think, as you depart Fiji, but nothing terrible. Vanuatu's northern bits are affected by the Solomon's Trough, as I said, so expect cloud and showers up there. Better weather to the south, winds in the north, southeast 20 to 25, but further south, lighter, I would say southeast 15 to 20. The sea is about 2 meters. Wednesday, expect 15 to 20 out of the southeast. And finally, New Caledonia looks very nice on imagery. Mostly sunny, a few scattered clouds. Lagoon winds southeast around 10 today, a touch higher this afternoon. Tomorrow, maybe easterlies, give or take on that direction, about 10 to 12 knots. And for your actuals, the outer reef, for those of you that are leaving, southerly winds 11 to 14. Ile de Pan reported south 4 to 7, and up in Noumea, Well, the winds were variable this morning. There were a few northwests, about 9 knots, not much at all. And the barometric pressure, 1016.8, 1016.8. And there you go. That's the weather as I see it. Good luck to those that are leaving today and tomorrow, and also the ones that have already gone. So we'll stay in touch tomorrow and see how things are going. And here's the chief.
And McCush are on their way to Australia, have sent in a report, which is always useful. At sea, they're at 1719 and 16246. This is for the people that are on going possibly behind them to Australia. 18 to 20 east to southeast, 3/8 cloud cover and a 1 metre southerly swell. 1014. Thank you, Mark. And have you got something for folk going there? No?
Yeah, well, yeah, I totally forgot to talk about Newcastle to Oz. So we've got those reports. I do have information for you. If you're halfway or more on or about Thursday, so a couple of days from now, I'm looking at northeast winds. The way that high is shaped, the isobars are turning. So those winds are going to be, I think, northeast. And on Saturday, near the coast, around the latitude of Bundaberg, northwest winds, and they'll be about 15 to 20. And if you're wanting to avoid the charges for the weekend and arriving on Monday, I think northwest winds about 15 to 20. And I also forgot to talk about Fiji to Port Vila. A few boats are taking that little trip. Light air early, and then by Wednesday it's going to pick up out of the southeast. It's going to be in the 20 knot range, and virtually the same thing on Friday. Now Saturday near Port Vila, as you're getting closer or about to arrive in Port Vila, fresh winds. I would say east southeast about 20 to 25. So that's for those yet. Sorry about that.
All right, and I would like to try and find Tuaki. Tony, if you are listening, give a couple of calls, please. Tuaki, Gulf Harbour. Nothing heard here. Does anybody have any ears out for any boat that I cannot copy? Any relays, please? No, nothing heard. So they're on their way from the Louisiades down to Townsville, but obviously propagation is not so good in that direction. And we have Valak asking about a Friday departure for arrival on Monday the 25th. You can handle that one tomorrow. All right, is there anybody else with anything? Please call now. Nothing heard. We have not sent out. We do have a list of people, Gulf Harbour Radio list of people that we occasionally sent out an email if there was sort of a horde wanting to go anywhere or there was some particularly interesting weather. We have not done that. We have stopped that. In fact, we had a bit of trouble with someone expecting a daily report from us. We are a radio and streaming station. And whilst we do have a list of people that we are more than happy to help, we did get an email with great expectations and a not very nice way of putting it. So we have stopped the email going out from us. We will be making some changes to that next year, I think, and then we'll sort that out at that time. So those who are on our email list and haven't had anything, it's because we have not sent anything out this week. All right, folks, I will leave you to your day, a very exciting day for most of you who are getting away from Port Vila or wherever, Newcastle, Fiji, Minerva.
That's it.
A lot of activity today, so all the very best. We'll do our best here to try and improve this arrival weather. Boy, it's certainly not very wonderful here today. Cheers, everybody. Have a good departure. Stay safe, and we'll be on again tomorrow. I heard Gulf Harbour Radio, and that was about it. Could you make sure you are on high power, whoever it is that's calling, and try again? I might be able to get a relay, but I know everyone's pretty busy trying to get away today. Try again, over. No, I'm just not picking anything up now. Sorry about that. So hopefully the boat that's calling has access to streaming because that's where you will pick up anything that David commented on today. Or you could go onto the SOPAC net, which is on in about 40 minutes, I think. Go try the SOPAC net, and somebody might be able to give you some information on that. Okay, cheers everybody. And for those that want to email us, it's ghradio, all run together, ghradio@extra.co.nz. That's xtra.co.nz. And if you want the SOPAC net, it's on 6209 at 2000 UTC coming up, and this evening at 0530 UTC. Okay, cheers all.